Okay, so now let's talk about SwiftUI and async-await and what it is. So, what is async-await? Async-await is a way of writing code that makes it easier to handle tasks that take some time to complete, such as fetching data from the internet or saving files to a disk. You can think of async as a magic wand that lets you pause and resume your code whenever you need to wait for something. Now, this is the type of thing that escaping closures did, right? But the problem with escaping closures is that escaping closures, what a lot of people objected to is the fact that escaping closures, subject you to what they call callback hell, right? Which means, in a nutshell, there's nested if else statements in this closure, right? And it makes it difficult to maintain and hard to read. And sometimes hard to write, depending on how sophisticated it gets. So that was the drawback. Okay. So now, to use async await in SwiftUI, you need to mark your functions with the keywords async and await. An async function is a function that can perform an asynchronous task and return a value. An await expression is a way of calling an async function and waiting for the result. Async await is powerful and elegant way of writing asynchronous code with UI and that you focus on what you want to do with your data rather than how to get it. They're talking about Combine. You focus on how to get it. It also makes your code more readable and maintainable as you don't have to deal with complex and nested structures. With async await, you can create beautiful and responsive user interfaces with ease. Okay, so now that we've got an explanation out, let's go ahead and show an example. I'm going to do an API call. You guys are already familiar with this API call. I'm going to this URL and pulling back a list of acronyms. A lot of people who've been following me and my other tutorials are familiar with that. So right now, instead of using and getting the information back using a closure, we're going to use async await. That's what async await does. Is used to replace the escaping closure. So here we go. So we have our components. This is where we're gonna get our URL, right? And acronym object. This is our custom object that we're going to parse our data into. Okay, we haven't written the networking service, so let's go ahead and let's do it. Okay, so for the sake of simplicity, I'm gonna make this a I'm gonna make this I'm sorry, a singleton, right? Right, networking service. Okay. Right. And here's our class, networking service. And I'm going to say static, let shared equal networking service. Okay. And then I need to create a private initializer, private init, right? Because I don't want other things coming in here, right? And now I'm going to create this function. It's going to call func fetch acronym data FETC fetch acronym data, and I'm going to pass it a value which is going to be a string. Our UI is going to pass a string, and we're going to get back what's a list of strings, what this acronym stands for or what it could possibly stand for. So then we take the value, I mark it async. Okay. Throws, right? Acronym object. That's it right there. Okay. So now we have this, and what we're going to do now is we're going to say, I'm going to go ahead and create a, so we're waiting on acronym but we don't have one yet, right? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, I'm going to have a guard statement for this value that comes back, okay? Because we need to send a valid URL with a value attached to it, right? Why is this group? Oh my God. Do guard let's L, right? So string, right? And this should be URL components. Right, URL components. That's components, no, constants, right? You know what I have? URL component constants, right? URL component constants, right? Dot full URL. Oh, I can't believe it. Plus value. Okay. Else, right? Else, and then we're not going to say return. We're going to say throw. Okay, we're going to throw our error. Okay, throw in as error. Okay. Okay, domain. Right, domain. And I'm just gonna create one. Networking service. I'm just throwing this out there, right? We'll get into this later on another day. Well, of course, if you have a enum, you can create your own custom errors, right? Again, and I do talk about that in one of my videos. Okay, so in as localized string, localized description key, right? And I'm just gonna say invalid URL. Invalid, okay, URL. And that's it. So it throws that. So now, give me a second. So now that I have that, now let's go ahead and let's do this. Let's get this data, right? So this is where we use the await part. Let's, okay, use a tuple here, and it is, our data, right, and our response. Okay, this is what we get back. Try, await, URL session. Session, this is where our URL session variable. Okay, URL session dot shared dot data. Okay. Data from. Okay. From where? Request. That's it. So we've unwrapped this, made sure it's there. And now we have the request. This is where we're putting it right here. Okay. So now that I have our data and our request, I'm going to go here and I'm going to unwrap data, right? Because it's optional. Guard. Let's unwrapped data equal data as data of type data, else, right? Not return, but throw, right? Throw. And I'm just for the sake of expedience, I'm going to do that right there. Okay, so now I have this and I threw this. So now let's go ahead and get our decoder, and we'll use a decoder like we always have. Decoder equals JSON decoder, right? And I'm going to say let's acronym objects, acronym objects, right? Sorry, acronym objects, acronym, whew, six, equal try decoder dot decode, and also acronym object. Decode acronym object, right? Acronym object dot self. And remember, where am I getting this from? Acronym object is this, which is an array of acronym elements, right? Okay. Just to clarify that, right? So what I could just say is elements, right? I can say elements, right? And data is here, unwrapped data, that is, UN, unwrapped data. Boom, gosh, right? And that should calm down our, okay, there we go. All right. Now, of course, we aren't using response technically, so we can do this, right? Okay. So now that we have this done, and let's go back over here, where URL components, acronym object. Now we need to go ahead and go to our content view, and let's get busy right here. Okay, because we got a lot of things going on in this content view. So I have this down here. I'm going to create right here. I'm going to make a call. This call is going to basically get the data back, right? Now, let me explain something. Usually you do this not in the view, but in the view model, right? In the professional world. But I'm trying to simplify this um for the sake of the tutorial and expediency, right? Because if we start getting into making this thing exactly like a real world project, this video can go on and on and on, and we miss the point. Okay, so I'm gonna say do. All right. Do, and I'm gonna say, let me see something real quick. So I have a do block, and we're gonna say if that's creating a variable called acronym data. Oh, and by the way, I have to do a couple of things, right? I have to create some variables up here. So it's state acronym up here, right? At state private var acronym data, right? And this would be acronym object. Acronym object is, of course, it's optional, which means it can be nil, right? Error message. Okay, error message, and it's a type string, optional. string optional, right? So so back here, and I'm going to make this equal to acronym data. Okay, there we go, right? Acronym data. We're going to say if acronym data dot count dot count greater than 0, then we'll go down here. If acronym data dot count is greater than 0, right? Acronym list view. Okay, so we don't have an acronym list view. Let's go down here and create it. Okay, so in here, I'm not creating a separate object or component. Putting it right here. That's for another. Yeah, that's for another thingamajig, right? Well, actually, let's do that. Okay. Acronym list view, and it's gonna be its own thingamajig. So let me say struct acronym list view. Okay. But basically, what I really want to do is just get down and illustrate what we're talking about, right? Until I make a video about best practices are kind of like really killing my time. LFS type LFS, right? An array of LF, right? Okay, and let me go back up. You know something? I am going to do a build. Does not conform to acronym struct acronym list view does not conform to view. And you know why it doesn't? Because we have to create this bar body sum view, right? We have this, and then we're going to call this scroll view. Okay. Oh, why does it do that? Right? Let me build. Now it conforms to view. See that? This is required for the conform to view. And of course, a scroll view has to be within the body, right? Because this is a view. Okay. All right. So now we have this. And inside the scroll views, put a V stack, right? V stack. V stack alignment. No, not alignment. Okay. Right. Dots leading. Okay. And right here, there. Okay. I press return. So for each, oh goodness. Right, for each LFS. And so another thing too is LFS, right? But also have an ID, right? ID. And I will explain this later, right? I'm not going to explain it now. But these are the items for each LFS, right? In here. This references the LF. And if you go back to your model, where's my model? Where's my model? I put a model. See, right? There's an LF. Okay. All right. So inside of this, there's an array of LFS, an array of LF. Inside the LF, there's an LF, which is a string, right? And LFs right here that are in this array, they're custom objects. Okay. This returns a string. This string is the actual word. Okay. That's what we're populating. Okay. So now text lf.lf, which is like auto completed for us, right? Dot frame right? I'm going to say width frame width is 180 and height is 40. Okay. Okay. And dot border is dot black, right? And the width is 1. Okay. And then I'm gonna go down here because I want this V stack, I want it to be multi-line text alignment leading. That means all of the elements in here are leaning towards its left. That's leading. Okay. Okay, multi-line, sorry. Multi-line text alignment dot leading. Okay, so now we have this. This, why is this here? This is like highlighted and weird. Okay, whatever. Um, so now let's go back here because we have to actually, fix that, right? So we'll go back here and we'll get our acronym list view, right? Acronym list view, LFS, right? And it is our acronym data, right? The first item in the array. And those who are like want an explanation for that, you have to go back to my other videos because I explain this really in depth, right? So you can understand this API and the JSON response that it returns, right? But I don't want that to be what this video is about. I want this video to be about just seeing an example of async-await. Okay, text, right? Error message, okay? Else, right? I'm just gonna say empty view. That's right. Okay, and then put another spacer here. So we'll push this up, right? Let's go ahead and replace this. And I think I might have to debug this, right? So I'm right here, AI, search, and yeah. So let me go ahead and debug this and see what button. And you know why? Because give me a second. Yeah, because you know why? I'm not calling anything. So let's go ahead and we're gonna create another function in here, right? Inside here. It's gonna call fetch acronym data func, right? Fetch acronym data. Okay. When I fetch this data, what I'm doing is I'm going ahead and I'm populating these variables up here, particularly this one, the acronym object, right? Okay. So let's go ahead and do this. And yeah, right. So another thing in async await, you're going to find some stuff online or even on Stack Overflow where you're going to async, right? Async. like this, right? This is going to be, and then your functionality, you're going to have a do catch block inside here, right? Or async-await, I believe it is. Async-await. Oh, I mean, you can, let me see. Hold on. You're going to find, but that is going to be, that is functionality that will soon be deprecated. So the functionality, what does it have on? I'm looking on Stack Overflow and async. This is it right here. Okay. So on the Stack Overflow, you're gonna find this. It's gonna say async, right? And as you can see right here, see this error? Async operation is deprecated. Async will be replaced by task in it and removed shortly, right? So it's probably not appropriate to put this here. What that means is that in the next version or next few versions, this word being here will throw an error. They're moving it away, right? So what you need to do is you need to say task. Okay, it's going to do the same thing. Right, that's the only change you'll need to make. And let's go ahead and let's do this. Do, not do, right? Okay. Do, and this is not a do block, it's a do catch block. Do catch, okay. And this is actually this functionality is really simple, right? So you're gonna say let's acronym object, much simpler. I hate to say it, or acronym data. We're gonna do that. Much simpler than Combine, way simpler, right? And if you're confused about Combine, I have tutorials on it to teach it. This is way simpler, and they serve different purposes, right? Um, Combine is for more complex API calls and maybe multiple calls, just a lot of stuff where you're making API calls, more functionality than what you'll probably need with maybe async-await, right? But they're both for dealing with asynchronous functionality, right? But I think I think async-await is the better answer for the better solution for a lot of the problems you'll come across. So networking service, right? Dot shared, dot fetch acronym value, right? And what is that? Acronym. Where are we getting this from? Up here, right? That's it, right? That's also here. We're setting it here and it's automatically being set here, right? State just sees it, right? It's like having a did set block, right? With computer properties. Any change that's done to the value is reflected in other places, okay? That's what's happening with state, okay? All right, so now, right here. So now we have this, and of course, like any do catch, if this is successful, what we want to do is we'll say self dot acronym data equals acronym data. I've already explained the difference between self and just the regular, right? And same thing, self dot error message equals nil, because there is no error message. And then we're going to say self, I'm going to copy this, okay? I'm going to copy this. V, and we're going to reverse it, right? Acronym data is nil. There's an error, right? And this is going to be error because, you have error, right? Error dot localize description, because error message is a string, optional string variable, right? So, and this is this, and oh wait, I'm still not doing it. Still haven't I'm missing one thing. Fetch acronym data has to be called, right? So, and it is called right here, fetch acronym data. All right, so now I have to rerun this. Stop, rerun. Right, and I'm going to say AI search. And this is the information from our API call. Right, as you can see, let's see. Oh my gosh. Oh, right. Okay. X, Y. Okay. Right. Okay. So this is using async-await. Yeah, sorry for stumbling through it a little bit, but you know, hopefully you can learn from this. And the magic of YouTube is that you can always go back and rewind and replay, go back to the part where you had some problems. All right, on to the next.